A Minot bridge by 3rd Street and Central Avenue will remain closed due to concerns over its safety. At tonight's City Council meeting, City Engineer Lance Meyer says concrete on one of the piers looks like it's deteriorating. He says they've reached out to the North Dakota Department of Transportation to assess damages on the bridge before it's repaired. City Manager Harold Stewart says the bridge was scheduled to open this Wednesday.
Out of an abundance of caution, we will continue to keep that structure closed until we have further information by experts who have looked at the facility.
Stewart says when they know more about the bridge's condition within the 3 to 6 weeks, they'll discuss how to move forward.